In the second game of the World Cup 2018, Egypt would lose to Uruguay 1-0 off an 89th minute header from Jose Maria Jimenez. This would force the Egyptian national team and the manager at the time, Hector Cooper, to get a win over Russia and Saudi Arabia in order to get through the group, in which they did not obtain. However, what if this didn't happen? What if Egypt held on for a draw against Uruguay and was not forced to get a win against Russia? At the time, Egyptian star and talisman Mohamed Salah was dealing with a shoulder injury at the cost of Sergio Ramos during the 2018 Champions League final. However, this would leave him out for the first match of the World Cup 2018, in which he would witness his team lose to Uruguay. But then he would return for the second match against Russia and for Saudi Arabia. But what if Egypt had tied Uruguay and he was available for the round of 16? Prior to the World Cup 2018 and Mohamed Salah's injury, Egypt would face three very strong sides in Colombia, Belgium, and Portugal in friendly matches to test their might. Hector Cooper's side for the Egyptian national team would actually play very well for these three friendlies. Egypt would lose to Portugal in a 2-1 defeat after two Cristiano Ronaldo goals in the 90th minute in the span of 2 minutes, in the 92nd and the 94th. While Egypt would also tie 0-0 to Colombia in Colombia and lose 3-0 to Belgium after Mohamed Salah's injury. These matches prove that Egypt could hang with the top national teams in the world, especially with 100% fit Mohamed Salah. And I believe this World Cup 2018 was a very poor reflection of how they really would have played had he been 100% fit and had they have tied Uruguay. So now for the actual scenario. Egypt would tie Uruguay 0-0, and after this, Hector Cooper would believe in his team enough to get another draw against Russia, the host nation, as Mohamed Salah would not have to carry his team in order to get a win. Egypt, now in Hector Cooper's 4-2-3-1 formation, would hold on long enough just to carry the Russians out for a 0-0 draw, in which now Egypt could focus all their attention on Saudi Arabia, while the Russians would have to deal with a very prominent and very powerful Uruguay during the tournament. Hector Cooper and the Egyptian national team would now know they have everything to play for and would do everything to achieve victory in order to go through to the round of 16. While Russia, on the other hand, would now have to focus all their might on a very talented Uruguay side, but still end up losing 3-0. While in this Egypt match, I believe it would have been a 3-0 Egypt with 2 goals from Mohamed Salah and 1 goal from Mahmoud Trezeguet, in order for Egypt to secure a round of 16 berth. After the victory against Saudi Arabia, Egypt were now through to the round of 16 and would play a very weak Spain side, and Mohamed Salah would be looking to seek his revenge against Sergio Ramos. Now, during the round of 16 match versus Spain, Mohamed Salah would have vengeance in his eyes, as Egypt were the only African side to advance to the group stages. Egypt would end up winning 1-0 after Spain kept passing the ball and playing a possession style, while Mohamed Salah intercepted a pass and made it 1-0 over David De Gea. Out of all the highly ranked teams during the round of 16, I believe Spain were by far the worst, as Spain had shown weaknesses with their possession and passing style of play against the likes of Iran and Morocco, and during the round of 16 in real life against Russia, in which they lost on penalties. Spain had no one to score in the final third, and I believe this would play to Egypt's advantage very well, as they had dealt with a lot more highly rated strikers, such as Luis Suarez and Edinson Cavani, both on the pitch at the same time. This is where I think Mohamed Salah could realistically intercept a pass or lead to a goal for Egypt. Egypt had now registered their first ever World Cup win against Spain, and were moving to a quarterfinal against Croatia. Now, I think this matchup could go either way, as Mohamed Salah was in the best form of his life during the club season for Liverpool, registering 42 goals. However, I think Croatia were also a very talented side in the World Cup 2018, but tied to Russia during normal time and extra time, but ultimately winning on pens. I think Egypt was very capable of tying or even beating Russia had they tied to Uruguay with Mohamed Salah being 100% fit. That's how good I think Mohamed Salah was that season, and I think he really could have carried them all the way to a World Cup semifinal. Mohamed Salah, now knowing what's at stake, he would turn up this game. Mohamed Salah would score 1 goal, but then Ivan Rakitic would equalize, setting this game into pens. I then think Esmail Hadari would then turn up, the 45-year-old keeper who's known for saving penalties, while Daniel Subasic would still tear his hamstring, allowing all the Egypt players to bury their pens. Egypt would now be World Cup semi-final bound, the farthest out of any African team. And I really think they're capable of doing this with Mohamed Salah. Egypt during the qualification process were by far one of the most disciplined, if not the most disciplined team in Africa. And then, along with an informed Mohamed Salah, I think it made them this good. During this World Cup semifinal, I think this is where Egypt's magical run would end. I think the sheer amount of hard work and dedication Egypt showed throughout this tournament forced them to be tired for this match and not allowing them to create anything against England. I also think the main reason is due to the amount of Premier League players England possesses. England would force Mohamed Salah out of the match and provide only a spark for Mahmoud Trezeguet, Amir Warda, or Ramadan Sopi, which I don't think they are able to create many chances against this England side. Now, people will question why I have Egypt beating Croatia in the World Cup quarterfinal but losing to England in the semis. And this is strictly due to the amount of Premier League players that England possesses. I truly think they would be able to force Mohamed Salah out of the match and only provide Egypt to create with Mahmoud Trezeguet or such in the final third, which I don't think they'd be capable of doing. However, I think Croatia didn't have enough players that had seen Mohamed Salah's game, only with the likes of Dejan Lovren or Luka Modric, and I think they weren't going to be prepared for the amount of class that was coming their way with Mohamed Salah, and therefore, I think Egypt could have forced it to pens and ultimately won, or even won it in full time. All in all, I think this showed how class Mohamed Salah truly was during the 2018 season and the effect of his injury on the Egyptian national team, upon the chem, upon the way they played, and upon the management, as Hector Cooper I do not believe had a plan B and was poor in managing them without the star man. However, I also believe had they gotten a draw against Uruguay, they would have had so much more to play for and have made a deep run into the World Cup 2018. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really means a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.